Hi, I just wanted to give you a quick video go through of Packet Tracer Activity 5.3.3.5. This is just so you can hopefully understand what's going on. Now, one of the things we're going to do here is take three devices and combine them into one device. We're going to take a switch, two switches, and a router, and just use one multi-layer switch. Now, as what we've talked about before, or what Cisco has talked about, is that a switch operates at layer 2. It deals in the physical layer. It deals with MAC addresses. A router deals in layer 3, deals with IP addresses, deals with logical addressing. Well, as you see in this, each of these devices cost money. And we have this particular setup. Now, this could be an actual real world setup like this, where you have one switch with PCs, another switch that connects another router to it, and you go, okay, this makes no sense at all. Why can't I replace this with one device? And that's what we're doing here. We're taking one device that can act as both a switch and a router and replacing these three devices. So the first part of this scenario is saying, hey, we need to get the information. We don't have that. Now, in the real world, it's give and take. Sometimes you have a great IT department who has documented everything correctly. In other times, I've walked in these environments, nothing is documented, and you have to do the documentation yourself. So as we click on this first switch, router 1, it tells us to go to CLI, and we can do a enable so that we can make sure we get all of our stuff. There are two different commands I'm going to show you. Show IP route will be the first one. Now, you may look at this command, and right now there's a lot more information than you need to know about. If you know this command and you're able to look around the screen, this is all you would need, and you'd be able to finish this exercise. There is another command, if this command is a little too confusing for you right now. It's show IP interface. Now this is going to give you a lot more information than you need. There are two lines that you need to know. Here's the first one, gigabit 00. Internet address is 172.16.31.1/24. The /24 we've already learned should be 255.255.255.0. So we just take that information and then we go back to our chart and plug it in. Right? 172, 172. So then I am going to go to the next one. Inside of here, if I hit the space bar, and I don't see what I'm looking for yet, so I'm going to hit space bar again. What I'm looking for is this line right there again. Did you see it's indented a little bit? Everything's indented, and this is back to the main line. Here we go. Gigabit 01. In the IP address is 192.168.0.2. And boom, we can put that in there. /24, so we're using the same subnet mask, 255.255.255.0. And we are done with the switch. Sorry, I misspoke. We are done with this router. We are then asked basically to transfer these things in there. So if I have gigabit 01, all I'm going to just do, and I would do this in real world, if I have the same thing, I'm just going to transfer the same address. So that's what I'm going to look at here, gigabit 01, and say, okay, why would I change that? So I'm going to use the same interface and use the same address. Then for VLAN 1, since I don't have a gigabit 00 interface, I'm going to just use that as my VLAN 1 IP address. So hopefully that clears up this part of the exercise, and that's why they've done this, because we have an interface 01 on a switch. 01. We don't have an interface gigabit 00 on a switch. On a switch we start at 1, on a router we start at 0. I don't know why, but that's just the way it goes. On switches we start with 1, with routers we start at 0. So that's why we don't have a gigabit 01. And again, to make things easiest, we just like to rename things the same thing. So we're not trying to reinvent. It would be easier sometimes to look at this and go, okay, logically and say, okay, I got this one, let me put it in this box. But that's not what we're doing. We're just taking and saying, okay, gigabit 1, 01, okay, let's do gigabit 01 here. Again, if I had documentation created, that way it would be easier for me to change this. I would just go ahead and go, okay, copy, paste. I take this whole line here, copy it, and paste it into here. So I didn't have to change anything. And then I can then just copy and paste this right here to update my documentation. So what it's now doing is telling me to go into the switch, into the CLI. Again, we have to go into enable mode. And as the instructions are telling me to do, it says go to the CLI, enter the configuration mode to configure gigabit Ethernet 01. So we are in enable mode right now, and then we need to go into configure terminal, and then we need to go into the specific interface gigabit 0/1. Now we're in the interface mode. First thing I need to do in order to assign this an IP address, I need to change it out of a switch port. Again, a switch operates at layer 2. It deals with frames. It cannot have an IP address assigned to a layer 2 device, a switch. A layer 2 device deals with which address? Hopefully you've said MAC addresses. It deals with MAC addresses. It does not know about IP addresses. What knows about IP addresses? Routers, layer 3. So that's what we're doing right here. We're doing a no switch port. As soon as I issue that command, I am changing this on a layer 3, on a multi-layer switch device. I'm changing this port, gigabit Ethernet 01. Oops. I'm changing this port to a router port. No longer is it a switch port. It is now a router port. So that way I can then assign an IP address to that port. 190, what is gigabit 01? 192. 168.0.2, 255.255.255.0. And then, of course, no shut. So that is up. Then we're going to exit out of there, go into interface VLAN 1, and do what we used to do as well. So it just tells you to add the IP address. You've done that many times by now. So just go ahead and assign that IP address. You're going to save those configurations. Save running config to startup config. Then you're going to move all your connections, right? Because having this device here doesn't do us any good until we actually connect everything across. So hopefully that clears it up. I don't want to go and give you the whole answer set. I want you to try it, but hopefully this will clear up what confusion you were having. If not, feel free to ask more specific questions and I'll be happy to help you. Thanks.